Hello, I received a few requests on making a video on adjusting the tension and travel on the Onyx Thumb release. I didn't want to incorporate it into the continuation of my previous review since that video is a monster in and of itself. So I'm going to try to keep this as brief as I think I can, or I think is necessary. I might also make this another thing that I do on this channel since I think the hinge and resistance versions could probably use a video on their own, and just any release in general that comes out that requires adjustment or is a user adjustable, things like the Trueball Executive or things that use multiple screws, and there's 5 different things that you can adjust at any one time on it. But we'll talk about that later. So let's take a look. So I'm going to use my XL heavy metal Onyx for this. This is pretty much just eye candy up here. This is the one that I actually use. To put it bluntly, I have it set up the way I want it because it's the one I actually use. It's set the way I want it, and I want to keep it that way, so I don't want to have to take that out of the spec that I like. So the way that I adjust the tension and travel is I set the travel to minimum, and then I set the tension, and then I go back to the travel again to make sure I don't have any slippage issues with the sear engagement. So to do that, on the Onyx, the travel adjustment is on this side of the release that is stamped with Stan and has the little blue sticker that they put on all these that eventually comes off. It's at the base of the thumb peg stem right here on the side of the release, which is kind of unique. I don't know if there's a screw in there or there's actually a little cam that that adjusts the travel on this. I'm trying to do something different and unique. So to decrease the travel needed for the hook to release, you turn that screw clockwise with a 5/64 inch key that is provided to get it set to 0 travel. To increase the travel, if you actually like a little bit of creep in your thumb barrel, which some people do, you turn it counterclockwise to make it colder. So to get it set to 0 travel, you press in the cocking button. And then you turn the travel adjustment clockwise until the release fires. You can tell by when the cocking button pops up. So now you've set it to such little travel that you cannot cock the release because there isn't enough sear engagement for that. Well, not enough sear engagement to keep them from slipping off each other. Now you turn the travel adjustment screw in very small increments until you can actually cock the release again. I usually adjust it in 1/8 turn increments by looking at the wrench from the vertical, like this, and using the handle as a minute hand of sorts. You put the handle on the vertical to your sight, and then it's easier to visualize what an 1/8 or even a 1/16 of a turn looks like. So what you'll do is you'll turn it back and back it off just enough before it can cock again. That's about an 1/8 of a turn there. You press that down, and if it stays down, then you're at 0 travel. The tension adjustment is where it is on every other thumb release, basically. It's on the spine behind the index finger bed, and it takes the same 5/64 inch Allen key as the travel adjustment. Now, the amount of tension you want is subjective to the archer, and everybody has their own preferences. Some people like a hair trigger, where you just about breathe on it and it goes off. I'm on the other side of the spectrum. I prefer to set my thumbs as heavily as I possibly can. Thankfully, the Onyx doesn't disappoint. You can set these things very, very heavy. You can lean on it and it won't go off. That way I can wrap my thumb decisively around the thumb barrel and pull against the wall like I'm using a resistance release. I could still punch it if I want to, or if I need to, but, I work or operate as the occasion requires. So what I do to get that is I'll bottom out this screw to where it locks up the sears and the release won't fire anymore. Then I back it off in 1/8 increments until it starts firing again consistently. So you run that down all the way to where this won't even push down, and then you back it off until it'll go. So once I get it to where I think I want it, I check the travel again to make sure I don't get any slippage or misfires. So you just run it down again so it doesn't, so it won't stay down, and you back it off until it will stay down. So on that note, on part 1 of the Onyx Thumb review, I noted that in the 0 travel setting, my aluminum thumb can essentially be decocked by pressing up on the cocking button. So I increased the trigger travel another eighth of a turn, and that issue went away. My heavy metal thumbs don't seem to have that problem, so I'm not sure if this one is just a little out of spec because it's an early run of the Onyx, or whatever reason it might be. I can't feel that tiny bit of travel, extra travel at full draw, so I'm really not going to concern myself with it unless I punch myself in the face down the road. So in zero travel, this will pop up, and the sears on the inside will slip, and that's something I really don't want to do or have happen because it increases the chance that you never know what's going to happen. You know, this might snag on something, or the sears might wear after time, and then it'll become a problem. So, like I said, I backed it off and gave it a little bit of extra travel, and that disappeared. So I think that about covers it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching. Take care, stay safe, and happy hunting.